Welcome to Cel Narrator, your home for brand new anime fiction, narrated just for you. Today, we dive into a story about a cynical barista named Leo who discovers that love might be the only way to break his time loop curse. He's stuck in the same Tuesday, doomed to fail at making the perfect latte for the girl who made him feel something real. This is Time Loop Latte. 7 times. The fluorescent lights of the daily grind flickered on for the 7th time that morning. Leo groaned, the sound swallowed by the familiar hiss of the espresso machine he hadn't even touched yet. It was Tuesday. Again, and Leo was starting to think he was losing his mind. At first, he'd chalked it up to déjà vu. The same balding man ordering a decaf Americano with an extra shot, complaining about the city council. The same college student spilling her oat milk, creating the exact same Rorschach-like stain on the floor. It was weird, but hey, city life was a repetitive beast. But then came Clara. The first time she walked in, the little bell above the door chimed a melody that seemed to cut through the cafe's monotonous hum. She had hair the color of autumn leaves and a smile that could melt the polar ice caps. She'd approached the counter, her eyes sparkling with a kind of gentle mischief. "1 large latte, please," she'd said, her voice like warm honey. "Make it with your whole heart." Leo, a professional cynic whose heart was usually preoccupied with judging people's overly complicated coffee orders, was completely disarmed. For the first time in years, he actually tried. He didn't just go through the motions. He focused on the grind, the temperature, the pressure. He steamed the milk until it was a silky, microfoam vortex. And when he poured the latte art, a perfect, symmetrical rosetta bloomed on the surface. It was, without exaggeration, the single greatest latte he had ever made. A masterpiece. She'd taken a sip, and her eyes had widened. "Wow," she'd breathed. "This is magic." She'd paid, smiled that heart-stopping smile again, and left. Leo had spent the rest of the day walking on air, already composing sonnets in his head. Then he woke up, and it was Tuesday again. He was confused, but a flicker of excitement ignited in his chest. A do-over, a chance to impress her again. He waited, his heart thumping against his ribs like a trapped bird. The door chimed. There she was. "1 large latte, please," she said. The same line, the same warm tone. "Make it with your whole heart." Leo got to work, his hands moving with practiced confidence. He'd done it once, he could do it again. But he couldn't. The grind was a fraction too coarse. The milk had a few bubbles that were just a little too big. The rosetta he poured was slightly lopsided, more of a wilting cabbage than a flower. It was a good latte. A fine latte. But it wasn't magic. She took a sip. "Thanks. It's great," she said. A perfectly nice, polite compliment that felt like a dagger to his soul. It wasn't wow. It wasn't magic. And just like that, the day was ruined. He woke up. It was Tuesday. Again. And so it went. The 3rd day, the 4th, the 5th, the 6th. Each day, the same sequence of events. The same customers, the same spills, the same news report on the small TV in the corner. And each day, at 10:17 a.m., Clara would walk in, ask for a latte made with his whole heart, and he would fail. Now, on the 7th morning, Leo wasn't just frustrated. He was bordering on existential despair. The cafe felt less like his workplace and more like his own personal circle of hell, with him as the Sisyphus of steamed milk. He slammed the portafilter into the group head with more force than necessary. 7 days, he'd tried everything. He'd meticulously weighed the beans, timed the extraction down to the 100th of a second, used a thermometer for the milk, even tried a different brand of espresso. He'd meditated for 5 minutes before she arrived, trying to channel good vibes. Nothing worked. Each attempt was a ghost of the first, a pale imitation that only served to highlight his failure. His coworker, Sarah, breezed past him. "Someone woke up on the wrong side of the universe this morning," she quipped, for the 7th time. You have no idea, Leo muttered. For the 7th time. He watched the clock on the wall, the second hand ticking away the minutes to his inevitable disappointment. 10:15, 10:16. He held his breath. The bell chimed. She walked in, a vision in a blue coat he now knew by heart. Her autumn leaf hair was tied up today, a few stray strands framing her face. She stepped up to the counter. "Let me guess," Leo said, the words tumbling out before he could stop them, laced with a week's worth of caffeinated desperation. "A large latte made with my whole heart." Clara blinked, taken aback. Her rehearsed line was gone. A small, curious smile played on her lips. "You're psychic?" she joked. "But actually I was thinking of something different today." Leo froze. His entire reality, the rigid, repeating script of his last week, had just been thrown a curveball. The gears in his brain screeched to a halt. Different. Different was not in the script. Different was a variable he hadn't accounted for. "Oh," he said, eloquently. "Different." "How?" She leaned forward slightly, her chin resting on her hand. "What do you recommend? What's your favorite drink to make when you're not making magical lattes for strangers?" His favorite? He didn't have a favorite. They were all just recipes, a series of steps to be executed. But her question wasn't about the drink, it was about him. For 6 days, he'd been so obsessed with recreating a past moment, with performing for her, that he'd forgotten to be a person. He'd been an automaton, chasing perfection. A slow smile spread across Leo's face. It was the first genuine smile he'd had in a week. The crushing weight of the loop, the pressure of the perfect latte, suddenly felt a little lighter. "Okay," he said, a newfound energy in his voice. "I have an idea. It's a bit of an experiment. It involves cinnamon, a touch of honey, and a technique I've been working on for the foam." He wasn't working on any technique, but in that moment, he felt like he could invent one. As he worked, he didn't focus on perfection. He focused on the process. He talked to her, asking about her day, telling her a funny story about the man who orders decaf with an extra shot. He wasn't trying to impress her, it was just connecting with her. He poured the drink, and instead of a rosetta, a slightly chaotic but charming swirl pattern appeared. He handed it to her. She took a sip, and her eyes lit up in a way that was completely new. It wasn't the shocked wow of the first day. It was something warmer, more genuine. "Leo," she said, reading his name tag for the first time. "This is incredible. What do you call it?" Leo looked at the cup, at the swirling pattern that represented his chaotic, frustrating, and suddenly hopeful week. "I call it the Tuesday Special," he said. She laughed, a real beautiful laugh that filled the entire cafe. "I love it. I'll see you tomorrow for another one." Tomorrow. The word hung in the air, full of promise. For the first time in a week, Leo believed it might actually come. He watched her leave, the bell chiming her departure, and as he wiped down the counter, he felt a sense of peace. Maybe the point wasn't to get the latte right. Maybe it was about getting the moment right. And maybe, just maybe, he was finally ready for Wednesday. Thank you so much for watching our story unfold today. If you enjoyed Leo's journey through time and coffee, please give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to Cel Narrator for more stories like this. We love having you here. See you next time.